my mic was still muted. Um, that's very nice, Deb. That's very nice, Deb. I think Cindy just put eyes in there and then took off. Uh, Kind of a personal journey thing, I think, staying out of chat boxes, but I'll pass that on to her. That's I like that. It's pretty nice. Thanks, Deb, for that. That means a lot to me at least. And I think it would to her too. So um I was like thinking about like of course I was playing with the scroll. I don't know what you call that. What is that called? A ticker or something like that? Where instead of saying StreamYard up there, it says Jesus Christ is the Lord. And then it travels by. And um and so I put the ticker on there, and so I'm happy about that. That's the first step, right? The first step is I was thinking about it, like what's the first step, right? For accepting the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, right? For our salvation, right? And the first step is accepting the truth, right? And so like I love how Jesus equates himself to the truth in scripture. He calls himself the way, the truth, and the life, right? And so what I like about that is that the reason why we're in this mess in the first place with the world being the way it is, right, is the constant rejection of the truth over and over and over and over again, and the redefining of right and wrong, good and bad, you know, and it slowly assimilates people and degrades society in a way that that can only be fixed by accepting the truth, right? And since Jesus Christ is the truth, right? Um, Accepting the fact that He is Lord, right? So if you go to Romans 10:9, right, you have to first confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, right, and then believe that He died for our sins and that God raised Him from the dead, right? And so I also want to like dedicate this like time that we have here, right, to Him and His glory, right? And I think that it's important to start out that way, right? Because now I have this little tiny calling on YouTube. It's not a big huge calling, right? It's not some big what do you call it? You know, profound place, where people are just going to grow in this chat box, spiritually, right? It's not it's I'm insignificant, number one, right? Small, very small on the scheme of just how big this world is, right? And how big the story is and what it means, right? So number one, I'm not significant, right? Number two, um, what I'm doing is significant in the small, um, in the micro form, if you want to consider that it's a safe place for us to recharge, right? Because we're on this platform, right, where we have to go to different places and sometimes outside of what's comfortable for us to find certain truths or to study certain things. And there's so much blasphemy everywhere that almost everything pulls us away from God, right? And so it's good to have a place, right, for brand new people that are in this kind of truth or community, right? If you want to I did air quotes there, right? uh, it's a safe place to kind of be. Um, you go out and do your truth or stuff. You come back here and maybe hear my take on it. I don't know, and then read some scriptures and really like celebrate the fact that the treasure at the end of this dig, right? The reason why we crave these rabbit holes, right? The reason why we are the way we are, um, is because at the end of that, right, is is God, right? And and He always knew that we would be like this, right? He always knew that we like to find our own Easter eggs, right? We like to we like to dig for our own treasure, and I think because of our personalities, right? And it's safe to say that the people in here have a personality type, is that we're very giving to people, very giving, almost to the point where um, it almost hurts us, giving to a point where it's almost a character flaw how many chances we give people, you know. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I get the general sense from talking to people that that's just the kind of people we are, empathetic people. And there is a shortage of those kinds of people. Like, I don't think you guys really know how rare it is just to be empathetic to this point, right? To this level, right? To be able to say, I'm sorry, to be able to say, I'm wrong, right? Is a hard thing for a lot of people to do, almost impossible, right? And so, well, I would, I would say that yes, you guys are a lot alike. I would say that. But anyway, so like the type of people we are, right, is, like I can find $1,000 if you need it, but if I need it, it's impossible. It's this impossible hill to climb, right? And so it's rare to be one of us, let alone a group of us. And so I think that when you get this is when I pray, this is one thing that always sticks out in my head, right? Kind of an inner knowing from God, right? Is that when you have a group of special people, right? Sometimes they think they're the only special people, right? And so um, maybe maybe like um, not to take away from the fact that you are special for sure, and have been different than most people. But in here, we're all equal, and I think we're all equal out there too, right? It's just what separates us is our personalities and our gifts, right? And so here we all have um, some pretty special gifts. I know I don't like the word special either. Yeah, it does sound like that kind of a word. Yes, I agree. It makes me cringe to even think about it, right? To even think of, yeah, I don't even want to say my name and that word together. So I understand that. Yes, yes. I definitely, it's like cheese grater, right? That's how I feel. I don't even like getting a birthday gift on my birthday. I mean, I'm a veteran and I barely like Veterans Day, like uh yeah, but it's rare to find people that um feel like a total wretch, like most people are pretty happy with themselves, in this world. Some people overly happy with themselves, and to find people just completely disgusted by their own self, but also knowing that we're going to the kingdom, right, is like such a uh it's it's because of him. I know that there's absolutely nothing about me that deserves to be in the kingdom of heaven. And I think that's part of the reason why we get to go is because we have that attitude, because, you know, in order to accept it, it's only him that gets us there, right? Uh, you know, can't add anything onto that. And so like I always hate like those questions, right? Where how you doing, Patrick? I'm glad you're here, buddy. And I always hate these questions, right? When people ask me, like, how do you feel about salvation, or how do you feel about this? As if like they want me to tell them like this minimum requirement, right? Like, what's the minimum requirement for salvation? What do you think that it is, right? And it's not really, it's not, I mean, yes, it's an issue to talk about, right? But it's like to discuss it in that way. Hey, what's up, Ryan? I'm glad you're here, Urban. And so it's like if you're the type of person that wants to know about how can I get saved and then not care about anybody else or God, right? What's the minimum I have to do? Well, then, that's, I mean, I'm sure you can get an answer, right? But that's really not the type of questions that we should be asking at this point. It's how much can I do for God right now? And because it is a gift, right? Because salvation is a gift, and because He did take our punishment, right? What can we do for God and other people? To be concerned with what's the minimum thing. Is it this definition or that definition, right? Which is important. I'm not going to say it's not important, but like it's not worth a divide over, because all of us are going to do all the things, right? And so but it is important to know that like it's all Him, and it always has been, and this is why we're here. Like if I made like a bunch of little me's, right, running around, right, I would want them to like me, like I wouldn't want like a big old group of them not liking me, you know I mean, I don't know, I'd probably just let them. I don't know, would I let them be on their own, or would I protect the few that did? I don't know, like I don't know it's very hard to ask yourself these types of questions, because they're way beyond human thinking, right? But like, yeah, if I made little little me's, I'd want them to like me, and I'd want to save the ones that did from the ones that didn't, especially if it, I mean, think about it in those terms, right? Like, yes, there is a minimum for everything. There's a minimum statement for everything, right, in life. But to save faith in Jesus alone for salvation doesn't seem like enough. I mean, think about what we're saying, right? That someone has to be born a man, right, and live over 30 years without sinning one time, right? That is the hard part, you know. That's the hard part, right? And then of course, uh, to try to teach and set the world straight, heal people, give people answers to live their life, right? And then be blamed for everything in the world when you didn't do anything, and then take our death sentence, right? And then you get people saying, well, why do I have a death sentence in the first place? And it's like, man, if we're having those type of debates, right, at this level in the world, right, if you can't see just how degraded this world gets, as we reject the truth over and over and over and over again. I mean, even our truth community, right, our most awake people, right? Look how we treat each other. It's getting pretty hairy out there, you know, when the people that know the most amount of truth are bad to each other. Then that's I mean, I'm sure if you told any regular person, right, all the truth, they would probably freak out. They would probably go into some kind of have some kind of breakdown. Hey Faith, how you doing? Everyone in the Chizat. Yeah. I'm from Cali. Oh yeah, you are too. I was gonna say I'm from Cali, so that's normal to me to hear that kind of stuff. It was more a few years ago, but yeah. You still chill probably near LA or whatever. And so yeah, I mean it's just yeah, it's all about him, right? Like he created the world, right? He set it up for us. We fell. We got to a point where the standard was impossible to meet, right? And he came and reconciled us, right? He redeemed us, right? Like, I mean, that's what you would expect. Like, you made me come, come fix this, right? I mean, I'm not saying like that's how we would talk to God, right? But like in a make believe scenario, right? Like, this is you made this, fix it, and he did, right? And that's everything you can expect in a loving creator, a loving father, right? And not only that, right? So not only that did he fix it, right? But there's a better place for us that lasts forever. It's perfect contentment. We're not going to be made of clay anymore, right? We're going to be made of a better chemistry, right? Um, and it's going to be awesome. And when I say like, I'll always say that I got this from Tom, right? Um, he brought it up one day on our show a long time ago, but so I'll give him the credit for it. But it stuck with me, is you give me that glorified body, and I can't wait to wash feet for eternity. You know, I want to serve for the rest of my life. I just my whole life that's all I wanted was to feel good. Man, if I could just feel good, just know how to be right, know how to walk around and not absorb all this everyone's pain. And there's a reason why a lot of us have some of the problems that we do. That we're all alike in some way. There's always something in the history that matches or we have in common or something. It's because when you're extremely empathetic, like you absorb everybody's discomfort. When you make someone uncomfortable, you feel it. And hey, Faith. I don't know if I said hi already. Hey, Oswell Soaring. It's great that you're here. And so that's just what I was thinking about, right? And I'm like, well, I'll just put this on the right under my picture, right? So that people know what this is all about. And I would put up my logo, right? Because I thought about that too, right? But I know that all the problems that caused and I still have it on some of my videos. I stopped using it because a couple of reasons. But it's a graven image, right, of something that's up there, and it's not accurate, and so it it kind of got politicized a little bit, but but I get it, right? Um, that's part of being human is having feelings and beliefs, right? And so um, people didn't like it, so I didn't use it, but I did use it like I don't know a few weeks ago. Like I put it on here when I got the new device or whatever. But guess what? It worked out, right? I waited a long time, right, to get the new device. One reason is because I didn't have all the resources to get it, so I needed to like make some things work. And then also I wanted to get a computer too, and I think it's barely possible, but I think I might be able to do that too. And if I'm able to do that, then we're set. Like that's everything I need, to be able to have all my lessons, all my plans, right? All my things that I've studied, and then be able to look at them and share my screen and not have, and then be able to still look at the chat. Because if I tried the whole thing with the ignoring the chat, but and I'll tell you, it's been a lot better this last week, and I know a lot of people put in a lot of effort for that, so I won't harp on that at all. And so I'm just really happy with that, because even sometimes, right, when there's a show that might not look like a good show or that we had a lot to deal with, right? We got trolled or we got attacked or whatever. and then on top of that, maybe we had some inner turmoil or whatever. But like, uh, it's it's what it's the progress we make after that, right? Uh, it sometimes makes it worth it, you know. What's going on, baby? How are you doing? It's good to see you. It's late for you out there, huh? It's 10 o'clock, huh? And yeah, I mean, well, I mean, now I'm at I'm at the point now, right? Like, with just how it is now, like with the trolling in the you know, I got one channel that it's like almost every single show he does on Satan, you know. Um, and he was my very first troll way back, way back. And now it's just part of his part of his videos. It's in there somewhere, you know. And man, I don't like that, but oh well, right? I I also am a I used to be a soldier, right? So I'm a veteran, right? And so uh I also know the value of having free speech, right? And that's important for them to be able to say what they want about me, right? For me to be able to say what I want about God, right? If and it sucks, right? It sucks, but um it is what it is, right? And so it is what it is. And so I'm just happy that we're able to even have this like spot to like, okay, we can chill, think about all the things that are happening in the world, right? Talk about the truth is like a matter of fact, right? Not a debate, not is this true, is that true? Look at this, dirty lie, look at that dirty lie, right? We basically know what the truth is now, right? We know that we've been lied to, right, on a massive scale, and that almost everything is a lie, and almost every business is a scam, and almost every business, right, that we thought was, follow the money and all this stuff, right? Uh, it really wasn't about money at all. It was about our souls, right? It's about them taking our souls one piece at a time, you know. And yeah, money is important in a sense, but these people have been in charge of the world since they were able to take it over, you know. And then it's like they've never released power, you know. And it's like yeah, there are these money units that we all use that they have a lot of, right? But they trade other things, you know. Money has no value to these people, I don't think. Maybe it does, who knows, right? As soon as they say something has value, right? They trick us and give us paper to say it has value, then now they want all of it, you know. Like they fall for their own tricks, you know. And cause like who knows, right? Like the reality is, right, all these decisions were made before we were born, right? Like, hey, let's base all the money on gold, right? Well, like, what if I don't like gold? Like, why is that worth money? Like, what if I like, cool blue rocks or something, right? You know what I mean? Like like, you could base it off of whatever you want. It happened, like that decision was made before I got here, and I got to live with it because uh, they made this decision, you know. And then they take all the gold and then they lock it all up so no one can have any of it, right? Except for like little bits that you can use for your wedding and whatever. But like, but like they lock up all the shiny stuff so we can't even see it. They don't even look at it. We just can't have it, you know. And now we got paper to trade, you know. It's completely worthless, you know. And now we don't even have paper anymore. Now it's all digital, right? All digital. It's a number somewhere else. It's not. There's nothing in my hand, you know. And they give it value. I mean, I guess we do too, in the sense that we've agreed to use this stuff, you know. But like in reality, it doesn't cost any money to do anything on Earth. I know that's a deep statement, isn't it? It just takes the work, right, and the knowledge, right? So our sweat equity and our and what we know, right? And what we can learn, what we're able to learn, right, is what is really what's valuable, right? And now they're going to get to the point where we might be. This is why I hope that it's over soon and Jesus comes and gets us, right? Is this will be, or like our next generation, or is like the last completely autonomous, you know, people, right? That we're in charge of our own bodies and our own thoughts, and I think that will end, right? And it scares me because I read scripture, right, that didn't make all, I mean, it made sense in a different way back in the day, but now it makes even different kind of sense, right? So when God says they were all of one mind, right? See, I used to take that as that they were all in agreement together, right? But now when you see exactly what like this technology could do, right, could like connect us to the internet, right? Like if we were to let it, we won't, but if they were able to do that, right, people would be all of one mind, right? And that is just scary, right? That is just scary to think about, right? That there would be a way for them to control everybody's actions simultaneously. Uh, I mean, like zombies, like real life zombies, right? All these zombie movies, right? And it's just, you're like, man, who thinks of this stuff, right? Like, who thinks of this kind of stuff, right? Who would want? See, this is the danger, right? Anybody that would want to have their finances or their information stored in their body. I mean, even if you take the mark of the beast stuff out of it, right? Even if it's just like a harmless thing, right? Seemingly harmless, right? You take all your information and all of your money and everything that you're able to do and put it in your body, right? Instead of it being outside of your body, right? Then they could just turn you off anytime they want, and it's over for you. You know, like as long as it's outside of you, right? Then you can go get some from somebody else. But if it's inside of you, right? They just flip a switch and you're done. You won't be able to buy anything anymore. I mean, you who knows what else they could turn off, you know? And well, I'll say this, Patrick. I would say this, right? It's okay. So the definition would be right. Um, uh, I'm paraphrasing. e- ev- Everybody, everybody, rich and poor, free and bond, worldwide would receive a mark in the skin, right? So so this is the first thing that meets that definition. I would say, Patrick, right? Like now it's possible for something worldwide, not just in select places, right, to receive something in the skin. Everybody's going to do it, right? So it's right before. I think it makes it possible. It's a precursor. I think it makes yes, uh, level up. I think so too. And the reason why I think that is because it could be like combined with the jab, because it could be like the identification that you have it, but there's also like a prerequisite um is that the people that worship the beast will receive a mark. So I wonder if that worship comes before the mark, and if there's no rapture, right? So I see a rapture in there, right? And we're gone at chapter 4 of Revelation, right? But like, if you don't believe in a rapture, then I would think that we would die at that point, right? That we would be, because we're not alive after that point, if you want to go chronologically with the eschatology in Revelation, right? And so it's one or the other is the way I look at it. But I mean, there definitely is a rapture, but it's like, where is it, right? Where is it? And I see a lot of argument about that. And I've seen good stuff on both sides. So, you can call it sitting on the fence, but I'm like, I'm only remaining neutral because I don't know, right? Hey, Darlene, I'm glad you're here. And who else came in here? Yazlo Storing's in here. I seen him, Patrick. Do do do. All right. And if I missed anybody, it's because I like you the most out of everybody. And so, yeah, and so it's like there's so many things to think about, right? But every time I think that I have something set, right, in any of like say in like prophecy books about things that are going to happen, right? It always ends up like becoming like it's able to be true in a way I didn't think about before, up to chapter 3. Yes, you're right, because chapter 4 we're not in it, and then we come back with Jesus, right? And because obviously we're up there if we're coming back with him, so that's why I say we're either dead or you know. But I've seen a lot of people really break that down. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen it, Paula, too. There's so many people that have like dedicated their like you know years of their lives just to the Book of Revelation, you know, and they change stuff all the time. It's a puzzle for sure. It's definitely some deep, deep stuff, But I wonder if, like, when it happens, if it's just gonna be like easy to understand, right? Like just like simple, and it's like, oh, it's like that. The reason why it was tough to figure out is because we didn't have that yet, or I can't think of an example, but um, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure that like you know 200, 300 years ago when people were saying that Satan was the prince of the power of the air or whatever, uh what they thought that meant, like what he's the prince of the wind or something, but like now with TV and radio and like internet, right, all the information comes through the air, right? So it's like, oh, okay, wow, man, wow. And it gives new meaning to image of the beast, right? Like like wow, and you're like you just think of it differently. Maybe it does mean both things. Who knows, right? Like when you read something and it's like true one way when you read it, and then true different when later in life. Maybe it's just it's that deep to where it is. That's why it like when people say that like the Bible is written by men, it's like well yes, yes there's a human history, right? But for the Bible to be this way, there's no man that could have written it. Like no man or woman alive could have, what I mean? Could have like humanly. I mean, we're talking over thousands of years, like books that are, weren't together, like scrolls and pieces, and I mean, just can you imagine? I mean, could you imagine? And then it all fits together, right? And then it speaks to you in so many different ways, and then it becomes true in your own life personally, right? Like you know for anyone to say that that's not divine, I mean that's the best proof of the Bible is to just read the Bible. But see, people think that's absurd, right? They're like, oh yeah, why would I prove the Bible by reading the Bible, but I mean really that's how you got to do it, because it's like it's so, yeah, once you get into it, Yaz, that's what I'm saying. Like it's so layered, right? And you read it one way and it's right, and then you're like, oh wait, I never thought of this idea or thought before, and then you read it that way and you're like, oh, it's even deeper and it means something else, and it includes everything, or this one's just kind of personal to me, and man, it's just so amazing, right? And I don't know why I like kept putting it off, like in my life, right? Like I was a Christian long, like I would say I identified myself as a Christian a long time before I read the Bible, a long time, probably more than 10 years before. And, you know, I got to the point where I was reading Proverbs, every day I would read the Proverbs chapter for that day. But, you know, now I can't stop. I mean, I'm addicted to it. That's what I do, like, for entertainment. Once in a while, I'll, like, you know, watch a cartoon clip or something like that just to really shake my mind up to, like, not a whole one, but just like a couple clips or something. And they're all blasphemous. I mean, you can't find anything that's not blasphemous anymore. And so it's almost like, I almost feel guilty for even like, looking at anything secular anymore. But you break that monotony or whatever, and then you go back to it, and it's like, wow, like this is what I want to do. Like I don't want any like it's not work. I don't want any credit for doing it. It's what I would be doing anyway if like I wasn't doing anything else. It's like how like people come home and watch TV. That's what I do now. And so yeah, like all these different sayings and stuff are like they're in there and they're like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that that's what all these things meant." Like I didn't know this is where they came from. There's see, as soon as I start thinking about it, I can't think of them, but when I'm looking at them, it's like it's very apparent, what it is. I like this small little group. This is a good little group. Sometimes I like them small. Like of course I want it as big as possible, right? But like I also appreciate it, the small ones. Many will be offended in the end days. And you know what, Yaswell Soaring, this is what something that I never thought I would see like with my own eyes, right? Is that I've seen somebody you know um look at an example, right, that I was making about the gospel and say that it was disgusting and evil. And I never thought that I would see that like Jesus's work on the cross, right? Him accepting our punishment for our sins, right? Him, Jesus being like our ultimate hero, right? Keeping us from our own, you know, uh, our own ways, like um is a beautiful thing. It's like our Father took our punishment for us, and it's the most loving thing, right? Ever, right? But like um I've had somebody like play something of mine and say that it was disgusting. And that's like it goes to show you what time we're in, right? Where people will call, good for bad, bad for good, right? Like bitter for sweet. It's like this is it. Like this is it. It's happening. And I think we're getting to that point where people aren't going to be able to keep God in their mind. Um, that's almost reprobate to be thinking that way because if you're thinking that way, then everything good you're going to think is evil, and it would be very hard to accept God's gift, right? If you think it's evil, right? And the more evil you think it is, right, the harder it's going to be. And so you're like, wow, what's going on? What's going on, Michigander? How you doing? I don't know what that means. The two hands and the thing and the dude. I don't even know what that even means. But he's got something on his eye though that looks like one eye symbolism. I know you didn't mean to do that, but love thy neighbor. Hey, love thy neighbor as you would love yourself. I mean, it's so important, you know? I mean, okay, yes, um, we're supposed to love God, right? Ultimately love God, right? That's number one, right? But there's another part to that, right? And not to love your neighbor is you would love yourself. That's important, you know. Like it goes together. I mean, yes, it's important to be right and to have the truth, right? But it's always about people. It's always about being able to reach people, you know. The rules aren't there to like, you know, to like not help people. I mean, the spirit of it is for us to all get along and have great lives and have a great time, right? Like it's not meant to bash each other with. It's meant to get each other to pull people up, you know. And I think a lot of like the best, like, you know, the people that are the best at studying, right? Um, sometimes skip that second part, you know, where yeah, it's important to God how we treat each other, you know, especially if you look at the Ten Commandments, right? He cares about how we treat him, right? Especially, and he cares about how we treat each other. I mean, that's clear, you know. If he didn't care how we treated each other, he wouldn't put any rules there, you know. It would just be love me, right, and just do it, do whatever to each other, you know. But it matters to him, you know. Oh yeah, there's corrupt factions of the government. No way. The whole thing is corrupt. You know, it is divide and conquer. Exactly. You're right, Michigander. Absolutely. I mean, it would be hard for me to believe that anybody in the government would be there for me or for my benefit or for your benefit, right? Like I don't think you get to that level without a certain amount of uh, you know, you got to go with the flow, you know, and the way the current climate in the world is, right? I mean, there's no way, like, I don't know how anybody could do it. Like, let's say you wanted to be a news reporter, right? And that was your dream, right? To be on the news, right? A news lady or a news guy, right? And and I think that if you got there and you found out, well, it's not really news. You don't really go out and like find stories. It's just you read this stuff and it manipulates people into doing what we want, right? If you knew that that's what it was, would you say, oh, okay, whatever it is, I'll just take it just so I could be that, you know? Like some people can. I mean, easily, and I can't. There's, I mean, no way. If I found out that it wasn't really like I thought it was, like, no, I mean, and it seems like everything is like that now. Everything is a scam, you know? Like everyone or every job I've ever been to, let's put it this way, from what I've experienced, right, including the government, right, you know, including being in the army, right? If people knew how it really was, right, it's different than they think it is, you know? And if you really knew how it was, you know, it's like if you work at a restaurant, right? It's like if you really knew how we did stuff, you wouldn't come here and eat, you know? Like that kind of thoughts, you know? And I hate to say it like that. I mean, I'm sure that you know, whatever, right? I'm not trying to make anyone feel disgusted about dinner somewhere, but it's not exactly the way you think it is, you know? And that's the point. And the higher level you go up in business, the more of a scam it is, you know? And so it doesn't mean that, like, oh, yeah, good night, Darlene. I'm so glad that you came by. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. that made me feel happy today to see you here. And yeah, I'm starting to notice that like there's more and more people that are coming like more regularly, and like I'm starting to notice that, and it really like I'm starting to appreciate it so much, you know. And that, you know, that's what it's about, right? Like the thing is, I don't want like, well, this is what I used to be worried about. Now I'm not so worried about it now, but like I didn't want there to be like 20 new people a day and then like push out the people that were here, you know. If people are going to come, like I don't mind them coming one or two or three at a time, you know, because we're going to be left with the, you know, with the people that are willing to you know, use this time to really like praise God and really be like have some restraint, right? Learn how to have some restraint, some patience. And if someone else isn't where you are yet, like it's hard, like we should be helping that person get there. Like it shouldn't be about, you know, like so like I always like I'm probably the weakest link, right? So like I'm just trying to get up to where everyone is, you know. And so that's really like it's really not, that's probably not the best way to say it, up there or down. You know, we all have different gifts, but like, you know, it's all about like being strong, right? Being able to be there for each other, you know. What did Patrick say? Oh, yeah, never mind. And so yeah, but you know, I think that it's like I always think about like, okay, well, you know, what did God do for me, right? What did He give up for me? What did He go through for me? And what am I willing to do for Him? You know, for 40 minutes a day, I could, you know, I could tolerate just about anything to give Him praise, right? And it gives me a chance to recharge, right? And then go back to the grind where everything isn't about Him out there, you know, but in here it is, you know. And you know, hopefully we're a reflection of that, you know. And the more we come here to recharge and go back out there, the more we'll be like that, right? Because it's easy to like get to the point where you're like, wow, I'm acting so Christ-like, and then you go out there and it wears off, and then you know the world slowly gets to you and wears you down, you know. But if we keep going back to it and back to it and back to it, maybe we could stay that way longer, or you know, or try to get closer to that point, or yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I would just ignore it, Mitch. But you know, we're all dealing with stuff, you know. Sometimes like sometimes with the stresses that go on YouTube, sometimes in our head we think things are going on that aren't really going on, you know, and then it's like the stress of it all, you know, the stress of it all, you know. You know, and then you start thinking, well, you know, every time someone does that, then it's like a sign of this or that or whatever, but you know, but either way, but yeah, no, exactly. You know, yeah, I agree with that. That's funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, we're also human too, right? We end up like, you know, where none of us are gonna die perfect. That's only one person could do that, right? And hopefully, we all dust off our spirits and we show up next show and we're better, you know. Because you know, trust me, I need to get better for tomorrow. I don't know anybody that thinks they're perfectly fine right now. And if they do, then I'm scared for them, you know. I'm scared for them, you know. And so, but I'm sure that you guys all know how I feel about you. I'm pretty open with that. And of course, my email is goodservant22 at gmail.com. And I would love to have correspondence with all of you, really. You know, most of you, you know, at least I try to poke in when I can. after I'm done answering all the, some people are more work, but it's worth it. But when I have time after messages, I'll poke in on people and see how they're doing. And so yeah, if you guys want to email me, that's great too. And because that's really the majority of my day. And I think it's good. Like, if it helps, it definitely helps me. And so, I mean, it is a lot of work, but it's worth it, right? Hey, Shazam. Oh, it's good to see you, man. Man, have you been a big help to me over this last while, for sure. I'm too tired to flip flop to level up. Yeah, but you just woke up my spirit with that comment. I'm just too tired, man. I just can't do it, man. There's no way that, like, I don't even know if I could act anymore. Like, because living life is such an acting job now. Like you're one character and another character and another character, and I'm done with all that. Like, you know, these last few years where I finally actually know myself now. Like, oh, this is who I am. This is my favorite stuff and what I like to do. Because a lot of it is just an act, isn't it? Out there, it's insane. And so anyway, guys, God bless you guys, and you know, praise Jesus for His sacrifice and His grace. Right, all glory goes to Him. He's our hero, our ultimate hero, our Lord. Right, that's it. Right, all glory to God. That's the only reason why we're here, and that's who we're here for. You know, and that's what it's all about. And so I'll just say that I love you guys. That's how I feel. You know, and so I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next show tomorrow morning.